Yeah,
Okay.
you're just a few minutes before 4. So you're a little.
Oh, we'll give it a minute then. We'll give it a minute.
Make it a couple more.
I'll just make some introductions while we're here. I'm Debbie Huscher of the Huscher Group, and on here we have Tanya Bataro. Wave, Tanya.
Hi.
And we have Claudia O'Connell.
Hi.
And Ellen, who was on another call, and we muted her. And then we actually have our manager, Lisa Golubiewski. There she is. So we decided to have this webinar because we are always getting asked questions. What is happening with real estate? It comes with buyers and sellers. And a lot of times, we turn on the news and it's so negative and it's depressing. And, I know we're all kind of struggling, like you either want to get out of your house or you have health issues. So there's a whole lot of different factors going on. But we figured let's have a Zoom call where we can have interjections from us of what we're seeing out in the market. And first off, full disclaimer, I am not an expert, well, kind of an expert, but we're going to share with what we are seeing right now on the market. So we don't know what's going to happen a month, 2 months from now, but
I just don't know what's going on with my audio.
Ellen, we can hear you. Ellen. Okay, I'm going to see if I can stop her again. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, we're going to kind of get started. And first off, we figured let's talk about what is happening in the market. Now, obviously, each town, each price point are going to be different. And we're going to have to analyze that if you decide that you want to sell. But right now, let's go with what's happening. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but on social media, every Sunday, we are sharing the Sunday stats. So this is the entire MLS, excluding Greenwich because they have their own, for single family and condo. So each week we're putting what's happening from new listings, what's under contract, and what has closed. And one of the trends that you will be seeing, or if you look through the past couple of weeks, there are more properties going under contract than there are new listings. And I kind of equate it back to good old economics, supply and demand. So if you take a look at the total Connecticut MLS market, looking at the factors of supply. So new listings for the month of April are down 8.2%. The months of supply are down 10.5%. And the number of homes for sale are down 8.4%. And for example, in Middletown, that's down 22%. We're down with the number of available homes. But now let's flip it to what is happening from a buy side and the demand. So your median sales price is up 4.8%. Your pending home sales are up 3.7%. Your percent of list price to sales price is up 2%. And your price per square foot is up 3.6%. So these are all fabulous indicators when you're looking at the supply and the demand if you are a seller. When it comes to a buyer, it's a different hand. I know some team can chime in here. We're having clients that are getting into multiple bids and we're offering over asking and not getting it because there is such limited supply in those certain price pockets. Does anybody have anything to chime in on that one? I know, Ellen, you just had one where you went over asking. I know, Tanya, Claudia. Anybody? Oh.
Let me think. I have one where my buyer wanted to
jump on this real quick, okay?
And I convinced them to come just under that, and we lucked out and got a good deal. But they had already lost 3 others in the last 14 days. It was so competitive that they were inclined to go full price, but we did luck out on this one. But it's tough. Yeah. It's really tough right now.
Yeah, I had a client, was $199. We went $20,000 over asking. We got it. But obviously that was their choice and their decision. But like I said, certain price pockets, it is very tight and you are selling like the first day. If it is priced right and it's a desirable home and location. And I'm a very visual person. So I actually like this chart here because it shows the months of supply and the median sales price going up. So we are definitely not as busy as we would normally be in a spring market, but we are busy. We're busy. And this next chart right here kind of just takes you through what's happening county by county. And we have what the sales are and what the median price is. And if you take a look at Middlesex County, we're up 10% on the median sales price. So once again, certain price pockets are where you're getting the over asking. And that's kind of where we are. So obviously there's many reasons why people are selling, whether it's, I want to move, I want to get out of here, I need to downsize for various reasons. But first and foremost, it really is about safety. And we are essential workers, and we do have some very strict guidelines of how we're doing. So I'm going to kind of turn this over to Tanya, and she'll talk about how we are doing things. So Tanya?
Guys, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tanya Vitaro. And when we're talking about safety, a couple different things. I have my little foam mask right here today. But there are several things that we're doing to prepare ourselves to be safe even before we get to the property with our clients. The first thing that sellers, first of all, are asking for, which is very smart, and then buyers are respecting, is that we're asking for showings of properties only with buyers that are pre-approved. This is really, really important. It should be like that normally, but especially right now, they're typically asking for buyers who can close within the next 30 days. And the reason being is, they're wanting buyers into their property who are really qualified to buy, ready to move forward. So that's minimizing risk to the seller and also minimizing risk to the buyers by really bringing in, potential clients that are really going to be potentially moving forward with this property. So that's the first step. So making sure that you definitely have qualified and buyers that are pre-approved and can move fairly quickly on the home. The second thing is masks. We're going through, as realtors, we're wearing masks when we're going in to show the property. We're also making sure that our clients are wearing masks. Most of the properties too are asking for gloves. Some will have them there. I've made it a practice, and I know you guys also have boxes of gloves, where I have my own sets of gloves. I also offer them to my clients in case they don't have them at the property. We're gloving up before we walk into the property. And then also, just as important is when you come out of the property, that we are taking those gloves off and disposing of them and not wearing them into our car or into another property. So for example, I had showings the other day, I had 5 of them in a row. Every time that we went into a new property, as soon as we got there, we put on masks, a new set of gloves for everybody walking into the properties. As soon as we come out, I've taken all the gloves, put them in a safe place, and then we've driven to the next location, again, gloving up, and then doing the same procedure each time. And again, it just is we're trying to be as respectful and safe to the sellers and buyers and also to the agents who are putting themselves out there. So one of the other things that we wanted to talk about a little bit with safety was about safe closings. And I don't know if Kate, are you on the call? Not sure if she was able to join in here.
I'm here.
There she is.
All right.
So I'll hand that part over to Kate the Great.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Kate Gillespie Atkinson, and I am the owner and operator of Family Resolutions, and we have a hefty real estate practice here in Middletown. Our office is on Broad Street. So keeping people safe for closings. So for me, I feel like keeping my clients safe really started, weeks and weeks ago when the governor issued his stay-at-home, stay safe, shelter-in-place orders, right? So you may or may not know that attorneys' offices were considered essential. So any attorney and their office could remain and continue business as usual throughout this entire thing. About a week into those orders, I made a decision to limit the amount of time that my employees spend in the office. So I have 2 employees who work remotely right now who are coming back on the 20th when things start to open back up, but they are instructed to socially distance at home. Basically, if I catch them on Facebook doing anything crazy, it's going to be a very serious conversation, but of course they haven't done that. So they're, you know, staying at home. We're all practicing social distancing so that when we do meet with clients and conduct closings, you know, we can be confident in saying that, you know, we've tried to limit the amount of exposure that we are potentially passing on to anyone else. When you come into our office now, we are requiring that anyone who enters our office space wears a mask that covers their nose and their mouth. We also, the three of us will be wearing masks that cover our nose and mouth. And I don't know if you know the statistics on this, but if two people are wearing masks, apparently the transmission of any kind of a disease is down to 1.5% chance. So, you know, I will take those odds any day. Therefore, everyone is wearing masks in my office. We are offering to clients, if they prefer, to not even come into our office. If you need to sign closing documents, whether on a sale or a purchase, you can do that by driving your car and parking in our parking lot. And then we will bring out the documents that you need to sign to you on a clipboard. And we will stand there and talk you through them, and you can close. The drive-through closing way is what we're calling it. We don't have any containers of paper clips or pens that people can dive into and that get contaminated and then are left there that someone might actually touch or grab. Any pen that you use in our office is a brand new pen that you then get to take with you, or we throw it away after you're done. If you do come into our conference room, we sanitize the table and the chair that you'll be sitting at before you get there. And then immediately after you leave, we are also, again, sanitizing the table and the chair right after you leave. And then along with, let's see, I have these, you see this all over my office, these little clear blue bottles, which are hand sanitizer, and they're posted at the entrances and the exits, and all of my employees' desks and my desk. So we're constantly hand sanitizing and doing all of those things to try and keep people as comfortable as they can be, and to hope keep everyone safe.
All right. Thank you, Kate. Safety first. Anything else to add, anybody? So if you decide that you do want to sell, our goal is to try to limit as many showings as possible by bringing your house to the forefront. And I think this is going to be a shift when you get into real estate practice going forward. You know, for the past 15 years, we have been using professional photography, but now video and 3D is kind of where the future is going to be with real estate. So one of the things that we've been doing, and it's been actually very effective because we are in such a limited supply market right now, is effectively using a coming soon strategy. So for example, this is a new coming soon that we have going in Durham. We do a guess the list price contest on Facebook. I believe we had 60 comments on this one. They got a $20 gift card. And then we put it up on Zillow as coming soon. And we have already had 300 views on there and 25 saves on the first day. And this is not going to be hitting the market until the 26th. So it's a great way to build up that demand that people are anxious to get in there. And so hopefully get the showings in there one day done and then have it sold. But the other thing that we're doing also is using the 3D marketing. So this right here, up here, I'm pointing, you can't see that, but there is what they call Matterport, where you can take a 3D walk through the house. So for example, I have a client right now, he's interested in one of my listings, but his fiance is out of the country right now. So they're able to walk through the property together and see it. And this is just a great way, because when you're looking at pictures, pictures are fabulous, but you don't get the idea of like, oh, what room is that over here? And how does this go? And how does that flow? So this gives you an immersion into the house. So you can take a look at it and decide if this is worth taking the time to go and see the house. The other things, we're doing video walkthroughs. And we just started incorporating a scene in 60 seconds, where you'll be taking you through the house real quick in 60 seconds, because we know people aren't going to like 3, 4, or 5 minutes, but showing the highlights of a property. The other thing is trying to make things as virtual as possible. So for example, here is a virtual open house that we're doing at a property in Higganum. And we do have a 3D tour that goes with this, but I'm going to be at the property, properly masked up and everything, and doing a live video walkthrough of the property, kind of showing the nooks and crannies of the home and taking everybody through it. So these are all ways that we can bring your house to the forefront and limit exposure and maximize exposure. So do you guys have anything else to add on that, ladies?
I'd like to add something about the Matterport. I have had buyers actually want like a very specific configuration in a particular room. Like say they want a dining room that accommodates an heirloom family table they have. And this technology actually allows you to measure. So you can take the dimensions of the rooms and you can take dimensions of windows. I mean, there's so much that you can do here. It saves a lot of time and it's got high value for sellers and buyers alike.
Yep, and that is part of our services that we provide because we want to, you know, that's our wheelhouse is marketing here. One thing I'm just going to do a quick touch on is actually we have just launched a Ravis Refresh program, and we have sellers who need to have stuff done to the property for them to either maximize their value or to be able to qualify for certain financing. So we have a Ravis Refresh program where you can, prior to the sale, go in and have some work done, and then that would get paid at the closing. So this is something that we can consult with you on when we get to your house and talk about and see if these are options here. So I just want to kind of put that out there. So the next thing really kind of want to talk about is timing and other considerations, because a lot of people, they're selling their house, but where are they going to go and other things that we need to consider. So Claudia, you want to chime in and just bring up some of the things?
Sure. So one of the things that is so overwhelming for sellers is where are they going to go when they sell their house? Once it's under contract, 45, 60 days later, do they have a home that they're going to go into? Do they have to live with family? Do they have to consider a short-term rental? Obviously, the market's moving faster right now. We're all noticing it. And it's quite a coordination. And as realtors, that's going to be a big part of our job. And it's going to help you take some of that stress off of you and help you figure those things out for yourselves. One thing that I really like about the market right now, and I hope a lot of what we're seeing carries over, past COVID-19, we're just more efficient across the board. We're valuing the time of buyers and sellers and the attorneys and everybody involved with the transaction by just doing a lot of vetting up front. We're having conversations with agents. The minute you have a listing and somebody puts in a showing request, we pick up the phone. We want to know, yes, have you qualified that buyer? Did you happen to know that this is a very wooded lot? It doesn't have a big yard. If you have designs on a pool, maybe we can talk them through some of those things. Our goal is to get people in your home that are really qualified to love it and buy it, not to just waste your time. It's a lot of work to get ready for a showing. You have to kind of stop what you're doing, clean the place, put things away. We don't want you to have to do that if it's not a real viable buyer coming through the door. And of course, with the sanitizing that we need to do. And then in terms of if you have to have a Hubbard, does anybody want to talk about Hubbards? I don't know if that's a big thing that's happening right now, but if you have a buyer who's trying to buy your house, but they have a house to sell, then that's a tricky thing too. We're going to coach you on, hey, you know what? The market's moving really fast. You may not want to take that Hubbard right now. It may be something that if you wait a couple more days, you're going to get a buyer who can close without selling their property. So we just want you to be aware of all of those moving pieces and kind of rely on us to make you aware and coach you through that.
And also on that note, Claudia, too, is as the seller, where is your next step? Because is it your sale contingent upon you buying? And if you're going to a market that's even more highly competitive, are you going to be able to be effective with the Hubbard clause and putting in an offer? Should you look at, okay, if I sell my house, do I have short-term places to go? So these are all the things that we can help you, navigate and give you the facts to help you make what the right decision is for you and your family.
Any
Anything
questions
else?
about that?
Tanya, Ellen,
I'm here.
anything to add?
Did you get a message from one of my clients?
I don't know. We'll talk about that. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we've been, I'm going to go back to the multiple offers and all that. I've been working with her, we probably looked at 15 houses, and every single one of them has had 9 or 10 offers and are gone in a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah. So that's why we talk about kind of supply and demand in those certain price pockets. And I'm assuming that they're all under like 300, right?
You are right.
Yep.
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 But some towns, like for example, I listed a property in Durham for 425.
Mm-hmm.
In the first 2 days, I've had 12 showings.
Yeah.
12 showings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, so they're, while we do know that there's unemployment and there's people who are furloughed and sidelined, we do know that there are people out there who need to buy and want to buy, take advantage of rates and things like that. I think we have Chris on the call. Do you have anything to add regarding financing right now, Chris? Chris, I don't know if you're there or not.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Sorry, guys. I had my hat on backwards and I had my phone on mute, so I turned it around to look somewhat professional.
Yeah, I get your beard looking good, right?
I can't get a haircut. It's driving me. May 30th. May 30th is the first cut I can get. Not a whole lot. I just want to thank everybody for being on. I was actually going to chime in with Kate, when Kate was talking, because we've done some quasi virtual closings, which I thought was pretty cool that we're able actually to still do business in this market. And I didn't want to steal her thunder, but I just want to thank Kate for being able to do what we do, digitally essentially. So they'll do like a Skype signing, if you will. So thank you for that, Kate. But yeah, the market's crazy. You guys are killing it, and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I will second that with Chris. Everything that you guys are doing is really nothing short of amazing. What everyone has been able to do in this environment. And the level of service that I think that you guys provide your clients is really, it's exceptional. And yes, what Chris was talking about, there is a way to sign documents via Zoom so that no one even has to leave the comfort of their home in certain cases. So it is possible, but yeah, I second what Chris said.
Yeah, I think as an industry, we've, I hate the term new norm, because I do not want it to be our new norm. I want to go back to the way that we were before, but it's going to be a while before we do that. But, I think that as an industry, and especially you guys, have really adjusted nicely to what we're doing. And, until it's back to the old norm, we'll keep, I think the new term is pivot.
That's right. That's right.
So keep it up.
And so I just wanted to say, so this last page, you have the 4 of us here. Please reach out to any of us. We can do a Zoom call. We can do a virtual call. We can get our garb on and come and see you, because we know each situation is very different, and it might not be the right time for you. So let us help you, at least give you the facts to decide if now might be the right time to sell. Anybody else have anything to add?
I have one thing.
Okay, Claudia, what do you got?
What are we seeing with the appraisals? Are they coming inside the house yet?
I just had an experience with a sale where the appraiser did not go into the house. The appraisal value came in low, and fortunately the lender and also the buyer was shocked about that, and they did order a second appraisal. And I do have another drive-by appraisal that's going on. But otherwise, they've been going in. I know personally, I let the appraiser in, let them go in and we give them all the facts, but they're kind of on their own.
I'll chime in if you don't mind on that, just because that's kind of my territory. Right now, for a standard purchase or anything other than a cash out refi, the accepted in the norm right now is what they call a desktop appraisals, kind of going back to, I know Debbie, you'll remember this, and I know most of your team will, back to 06, 07, we used to do desktop appraisals. So essentially what they're doing is they're taking the pictures from the MLS and they're evaluating based on that. So unless there's a need, like an absolute need for the appraiser to go into the house, they're not doing it. The only requirement right now, for an appraiser to go in is it's a cash out refi. And guess what? Cash out refis are all but closed off. So really they're doing desktop appraisals right now, and that's what they're accepting for values. Both Freddie and Fannie have loosened up their guidelines, and we're getting a lot of appraisal waivers, which is good if the house, if Freddie and Fannie feels like the house is worth what we're paying for it. So we don't even have to appraise. So that's definitely a call I think that we could schedule, maybe for next week. We could talk more about the requirements for appraisals, and I'm sure we could have a half-hour conversation about that alone. I didn't mean to jump in and steal the thunder, but that's a conversation and a call probably all in of itself. But Claudia, to answer your question, yeah, definitely they're trying to avoid going in the houses as much as they can.
That's what I thought.
Any other questions? Well, what we're going to do is going to be recording this, and if there's any questions, please reach out to any of us. And if we don't have the answers, we'll get you in the right direction. And like I said, we're here just to guide you through these waters right now and see if now is the time. So thank you all very much. Have a great day. It's beautiful outside. Maybe
Yes, it is.
go outside for a nice little walk and stuff. So, all right.
Everybody.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.